Just going to lighten up that gray with a little bit of white. So YouTube just dropped on me. And if YouTube drops again, I'm going to have to stop YouTube. It dropped a lot last night. If it drops too much, I'm going to have to take this to Facebook and go live on Facebook because I want to go live. But if it's dropping, that's not good. So I'm just calming this gray down. I'm lightening it. I'm not calming it down. I'm making it lighter. I think I can even go a little bit lighter than that. Okay, that's great. And I've kind of mixed it on one side, so I've got half that's this really light color and half is just a little bit darker. I want to start, I'm looking at my reference. I'm going to start by putting in like the lightest values first, really. There's this shape that happens up on top of the head. And this is hair, you know what I mean? So this guy is going to get hair over top of this. I'm just putting down a guideline. Most of this is going to actually go away. But I want to put it in here to log it in and just know that this is my goal. And even if this gets obliterated by hair work, you know, at least that pattern is a little more set in my mind when I go to do that pattern in the hair work. I'm not doing anything crazy here. I'm just following what I'm seeing on my reference. How is you guys' position? Are you guys in a good spot? No, you're not. Hello from Scotland. Once again. I really can't raise you guys up anymore, or else I would. This black here is thinner. These come up. And then they kind of kick out a little bit. Don't like something that I did, so I just erased it. Okay, that is that. And then really, all the rest of this is pretty much gray. And I'm not trying to paint it like hair, okay? I just have a brush and I'm kind of doing scribbles in here to fill in this area. And this is very much just I'm getting a feeling for this pattern. That's all I'm doing. I'm not trying to paint it so it looks like hair. That would be tough. Looking at my gray areas. I'm just getting a concept of what is going to be what color in the herring process. And if some of this shows through, that's great. I did my due diligence and the skin tone matches the hair. A lot of times if you shave a cat that has spots and stripes, you'll still see those spots and stripes in their skin. Look at shaved tiger on Google. Maybe don't. That might have a sexual connotation I'm not aware of. So don't look up shaved tiger on my account. If you do, just make your safe search filter is on. So these guys, this is pretty white down in here. You know, a little bit darker right here to blend between the face. Now there are markings on this face. Anybody commenting? Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. Glad you guys think the mask is looking good. Hello, Pennsylvania. Hello, Mississippi. And hello, Scotland. There we go. Okay, so there are markings over here on the cheek that I really can't see, so I'm going to make them up. You know what? He actually sent me some other references that I bet have that a little better. Assuming both sides match, there's kind of a crow's foot that comes up in here. So that's cool. Let's go do that. And again, I'm outlining it as opposed to painting it because I have a light gray. Okay, so I've done everything outside of those. I outlined those lines. And now I'm just going to kind of fill in up to those lines. I am keeping in mind a little bit the hair direction. Which way the hair would be going on the mask. And the ears certainly have their own coloration. I'm not going to bother to paint that on because I don't think I'll need to. I think I can just do that with hair and then the airbrush after. So this side I would say is set in the pattern that this mask is. This side still needs it. And this was one here. Another one just over that. And this third one goes all the way up down to the corner of the eye. This is pretty much it for painting because, well, of course I have to paint the nose and stuff, but I really want to get the essence of this so I can see that in my brain. Now this won't get any hair, so this has to be, you know, this has to be kind of right. All right, but this is our kitty with just the sketch of the paint before the hair goes on. His hair is so long. I'm going to flip over to here again. his hair is long on his chops. It's not super long. I'm going to put on much longer hair, and then I will trim it down. And now I need cat face fur direction, so I'm going to Google that. Obviously their heads are pretty cat-like. You know what, this is really good. So maybe I can take this then I can take this. I'm sorry it's taking so long, guys. I'm just trying to set up some references. Okay, that is a great reference setup for me right now because it has two things on it. Hey, Michael J. Lassiter. Hello, John D. I'm glad you could join us live. So hopefully now what you guys can see is I have all these just little arrows as far as which way the hair goes. So when I'm laying hair, I know, which direction to point the hair. Because if you do your hair wrong, imagine someone's beard going up their face instead of down. It's that weird if you do it wrong on an animal. So you have to kind of get your crap together. And I am going to use iron grip silicone adhesive for this. Give myself a little bit more of a workspace by moving this over. Just going to move these guys back. You can move over. Oh, the hell with the consequence. So let me share this bit of shop organization tip with you because it's really helped me out. This is a over-the-door shoe rack from Walmart. All right, you're meant to put pairs of shoes in here or single shoes, I don't know. But it holds, each one of these pockets holds 2 tubes of caulk really well. So I put this on the door, and then I don't have shelves of caulking where, in all honesty, if you try and grab one thing of caulk, you knock them over, they all fall like dominoes. It's terrible. This holds enough caulk for me to get by, different kinds and whatnot. I also have some different spray paints. Some of my clear coats are in here, and my airbrush cleaner, carburetor cleaner. But there you go. So I have plenty left in here, it looks like, in the gun that Robert was using when he was doing the leprechaun. These chops I want to lay down at least 2 thick. And I did already grab a bunch of white hair. This hair is not like the whitest of the white. That's okay. Because an airbrush is going to fix that. Clean it up. Clean it up. Clean it up. Okay, these are short pieces. So this is leftover stuff, so it's not like it's all new. Just going to cut this in half so it's easier to deal with. This is always the kind of hair that I use. Okay, so if I wanted to take the ear off of one of those cat faces, paint it green and add green fur, I don't know what it would look like. I don't know what you want it to look like. But tell me. Boom. And I need for this fur to come all the way up to this right here to hide this edge. And because of that, I will probably do just a little bit of finger manipulation of the silicone. Put a little more up there. This looks like some kind of a weird wizard cat. That is because I got on there right now. Once again, I got to move a little bit of the silicone to this very end because I have to use the hair to hide the jaw, the mouth mechanism of this cat. A little long on my hair cutting. Okay, step one. And I am looking at the chops and which way they go to make sure that I do that right. Long piece, short piece. Okay, yeah, I do think that this is going to be 3 pieces and not 2 like I had originally planned / hoped. Most important thing is to do it right. So using a little more hair, that's fine. Let's get it right. Also, instead of having to finger fix the silicone now, I am able to just run it all the way to that end. Okay, so that's 2 layers. Once again, I shorted myself a little bit on something. Last time it was hair, and this time it was silicone. And once I put that on, I really work that in. I guess it could be a Grinch. I mean, the nose is not right. The brow shapes and temples are pretty different. So, on a simple pass through, I guess you are correct. But I think I have other masks that are much more Grinch-like. I have an orc mask that the nose is pretty good for a Grinch. Okay. This layer I'm going to treat a little differently. I'm going to make sure that all that is in there. I'm working that silicone into the hair. In a bit, I'll come back and I'll cut off this top strip so you don't ever see it in the mask. And now then, each of these chops will have 3 layers of this hair. Have to add a little more silicone over here. You can always wipe silicone off. I can't go back after the mask is done and wish I had put more on, you know? Okay, so this is a synthetic hair. So it's kind of like plastic. And of course I'm dealing with latex on the other side. And the silicone is kind of viscous. So it's not going to like soak into it. But what will happen is I can push it between the fibers of the hairs so that every individual hair fiber is locked in. It is a great way to spend my afternoon. Griffin, what tack before silicone? This is just iron grip silicone. This is the glue that I'm using. This is the glue that holds the hair on. Other than that, it's just a latex mask. And everything else is going to be adding hair. And it's going to be starting from the outside, working my way in. I am going to give that a minute or two for that silicone to set up. before I peel this back and cut off that top strip, because I do want that top strip going. Okay. And I think I'm going to use fur for the areas that are not the face. You know, like I'll start up here on the head, and this is going to be actually a fur, so that this will be this kind of fur. I'm going to airbrush it to get all the patterns and everything on it. To get that right, I actually want to lay some paper on here. That's my hair direction that I'm marking. This will get me up past the ear, and I'll probably do a piece about that big before I get to needing the hair to go another way. The other side should be a mirror image, and it is, because I tried to sculpt symmetrically. See how that's going to fit right onto there. And my original mark. See, I changed that mark and it was right. Okay. That's going to fit right there. Let's even mark the end of it. Okay, now we can take this over to the fabric. Which I will do over here. The fur is not a cheat. The fur is a baseline for me. I know that I can get really good results by airbrushing the fur. So that's why I'm doing all of his hair in white. I needed those chops to be longer. Nothing else looks like it needs to be longer on him. The character has a hood and a circlet, so I don't have to make a full fur back of the head, which I could do. Those arrows that I put on are vital to know which direction the hair goes. Am I worried about using a black marker on a white piece of fur? No, I'm not. This time the hair needs to go this same direction, so I have to do it upside down. That's the way to do this. So there's a right side and a left side. If I cut two of the exact same piece, it won't be right. to get a nice blade to cut this out. Persona blade. Do I get excited about Halloween when I'm surrounded by Halloween all year long? Yes, it would. Yes, I do. But when you work a year-round haunted house where it's every day you're working and scaring people, Halloween becomes just a busy time. But that's one of the reasons I like Dark Hour in our format where I'm at right now is that we're not open and then bam, it's Halloween season and we're open again because, you know, we have a couple months of a break. And that actually really helps. Carbon paper, I just don't normally need it. I just use paper or muslin fabric the same way that drapers do when they're doing clothes. Yes, I have used a, I have not, I want to get an electrostatic flocking gun. I've never made one. I haven't found a good DIY to make one. I will eventually buy one to use just for projects like this because his nose and muzzle, this would be perfect for. White bottle. I don't know what the question is. White bottle. This white bottle is white latex makeup, if that was the question. Not makeup, latex paint for masks. 1/3 casting latex, 1/3 distilled water, 1/3 white latex house paint. Okay, let's go back to the Furio. The Persona blades are very sharp and they make very short work of this hair. You just want to cut it so that you don't cut the fur on the other side. Just cut this fabric backing. That way I can keep nice long hair. When you cut fur with scissors, you get this terrible chopped up fur on the end that is the presentation end. You don't want that. You want the hair, the fur hair will cover a world of sins in your crafting. If that hair is long, it hangs over all your seams. But if you cut all those hairs off, it doesn't hide any seams at all. Being very careful here because you just want your masks to be nice. I'm kind of pulling the fabric with one hand while I'm using my elbow from the other hand to hold the fabric steady. And the other hand with the elbow is working the blade in order to get just a piece. Or see how that hair is going to hide any seam? I cut it from the back with a razor blade. Cut it with scissors, then it would look more like this edge up here. You know, and that's not a good fur edge. This is. I'm high on leaving. Now that I'm here, I see that some of this is good, but I need to modify. So I'm going to grab my Sharpie. you guys to see what's happening here. And I'm making a mark where I want that fur to land. Okay, I have a new cut to make in there. Go over and make it. And something that I'm going to do that'll seem a little weird is I'm going to Sharpie the edge of this, because there's just this lace pattern that can show up on the front side where that hair is trimmed back. And this will actually help me blend them out. The edge of that fun fur is just noticeable if you don't do that. Okay. Take a tongue compressor, spread that around. I'm getting a nice thin coating of this caulking on the fur, so that every little bit of this will be glued down. And I did it on the outside edges to make sure it goes all the way to the edge, and then I can pull towards the middle. Whereas if I did it in the middle, it might be a little harder to make sure the edges are covered. Now, could I have checked this one more time? Yes, I could have. But I was pretty confident that on-site measurement was correct. And this will not be a white cat, okay? Just so you guys are clear, this is all going to get airbrushed. And I'm really pushing, and I'm making sure that this silicone, just like on the chops, is going into that backing. That is what's really going to hold this on, is a mechanical bond between the silicone going into the lace of the fur, much more so than it just being a glue. Okay. We have one more side to do in just the fur, and then the top, And then we'll be laying in individual furs, not individual, but patches of fur to get the rest of the head covered. Okay, let's go back to that other piece of fur. Let me see if there's any questions. No, I have not ever made my own heat foam cutter because they're actually pretty cheap. I may do some hair transfers on the face when I get to there, but right now I don't need to. If I need to, I will do it. Again, right now I'm just using the razor blade to cut the hair so that it is cut. And so it doesn't destroy the one thing that I want out of this, which is this beautiful hair. See, a lot of good mask companies butcher the hair on their stuff. Because it is faster to just cut that with scissors. Okay. This one too will need some adjustment. When you're doing your patterning, just go a little bigger than you need to, because it's very easy at this stage to come in over here and make it, you know, smaller. But it is harder to patch it in if you didn't give yourself enough. Okay, and that's where that needs to be cut, just that little bit. I'm not going to carry you all the way over there. You know what's happening. Why am I doing my hair work over here and my paint work over there? Because I don't want to get paint on my hair. I use my table as a palette, so I'll have a nice area over here that's I can lay this out and double check that fur direction each time, you know. Okay. This piece I am going to double check. Uno mas. Oops, I actually forgot a piece. Cut. Take a little bit off of this because it's different. Just a little from the other side. Okay. A bit. Ooh, damn. Feel good about that. Once again, I'm going to apply with caulking gun and then mix it in. About a ½ inch from the edge, and I'm using this popsicle stick, which is actually a tongue depressor. I call them popsicle sticks. Every small flat bit of wood I tend to call a popsicle stick. That's not accurate. I understand that. It's a major flaw of my character that keeps me up at night. Could you use a popsicle stick for this? Sure. But it's not as spatula-y as a tongue depressor. And I'm already kind of catching a little bit of that hair that I need to have glued down. Okay. I'm going to go down. Yeah, I want to do whatever this piece calls for. If it tells me I need a fur transfer, then I'll fur transfer. If it tells me that I need to lay the hair, then I'm just going to lay the hair. Or do whatever it needs me to do. And again, I'm going in here with my fingers and I'm massaging that so that that silicone comes up through the weave of the back of this hair. Now these two colors aren't the same. I'm going to airbrush it. It'll be okay, I swear. This will be a lighter, be brought up to this white, and this color be brought down to a gray. It all happens in the magic of the airbrush. Let's spin this sucker around here. Can you grab one more sheet of paper to pattern the top of this head? Top of the head. Now this hair direction has to go back. So this hair direction goes that way. So if I lay this down this way, not uncommon for me, by the way, to put arrows all over my hair on the back side. This is pretty easy to keep track of. I'm only cutting out a few things. And again, you can see my Sharpie line, so I'm going a little bigger than I need to get this. You can always trim it. If I have to trim it down a little bit, that doesn't make me mad. I'm going to go check this up against my head real quick. Now that it's cut out. This works, but I put a little dart in the center. Those two are going to go together on the final piece. Wouldn't it be cool if I made something with white paper on white fur on a white table so you guys can't see what I'm doing? That'd be great, wouldn't it? Well, that's the plan. We are a little bit cord bound. So this time my goal is to go inside of my Sharpie lines, or else I've made it bigger. But just inside my Sharpie lines. Concentrating means I'm quiet. Sorry. I'm concentrating because I hate bleeding. If you mess up with one of these razor blades, you will bleed, 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 bleed. And I wouldn't even know it. I'd be like, why is this fur pink? Oh, that's all my blood. Okay. All right, so let's go over here. I'm going to make sure that this is nice and set before I move on to the next step. So I'm probably going to take a break once I get this glued down. during that break, I will prep some other festivities for the day because I do have quite a bit to do today. I'll be back working on the Demigorgon from last night if you guys saw any of that. Okay. This is how I patterned it, so this is how I'm going to lay it on. And that seam up front where I did that little cut, you'll never see it. That allowed this to fit perfectly. I am actually squeezing out a little bit of the silicone from the edge up front there. And when that is squeezed out from the front, I'm using my finger to blend that edge down. I bet I've set you guys up in such a way where you can't see anything that I'm doing. Perfect. I love doing that to you. Sorry, guys. Rob will probably be here a little bit later. Yeah, workstations, they're a big deal. Yes, all the hair will be airbrushed. This guy has a gray pattern to him, a gray look. So this will all be airbrushed to be gray, with some black in there and actually some white and all that. It's going to be a weird transition to go from actual hair to, you know, what's supposed to be hair, but I can't get that, well, like the snout, I can't put hair on that because the hair that I do would not look like cat's hair, you know? So that's going to have to be airbrushed. Unless I had a flocking gun like we were talking about. But so far, it's a nice hairline that I've got up to here. You know what I got to do before I go? Cut these off. To do that, we'll grab a little pair of scissors. Cuticle scissors with a curve. I really just have to cut off the top one, you know? Might let that go a little too long because that silicone is almost set. Now I'm pressing all these loose hairs that I have just cut free into that, and I'm pulling them up, and that's giving me a better hairline. We'll do it again over here. And I'm going to run a line of hair, of course, right above the chop, and that's going to hide that seam a little bit. The issue is when you get to that last layer of hair, how do you hide that seam? You know, it's like shingling a roof. Got to have that ridge cap on there. A lot of times the answer is, well, put that last hairline somewhere out of the way, you know. Put it under a strap or something. But, so that's this guy for now. I know I want to let all of this silicone set up so that as I move him around and things for the next batch of hair, we don't have any problems. But thank you guys for watching. I will get to more of this, maybe half an hour or so. Let this silicone cure up. You guys are great. And in the meantime, go make